What's up, everybody? We're back. Lost Sports Podcast. About 24 hours after dropping our March Madness preview, talking again a little football. Brian Finnegan here. My guy Tom Schultz. Tom, what's up, bud?
Nothing, man. Been a good day. How about yourself?
Been pretty good. Not bad for a Monday. Best of all, work is over. Now it's time to have some fun on the pod. So tonight we're going to get into some of the more notable players who remain unsigned and why they might be unsigned in free agency. So then after we go through that list, we're going to steer more into NFL draft coverage. So what we're going to do, as we mentioned on the last pod, starting Friday, we're going to start our NFL draft series in which we break down each position group, which will lead us perfectly up to the week of the NFL draft. And the Tuesday show that week, we will be doing our mock draft 2.0. And then the Friday show that week, we will recap the first round of the NFL draft and preview rounds 2 and 3. But before that draft series starts tonight, right, we're going to talk not just unsigned free agents, we're going to talk about past NFL trades. Since we are about a month out from the draft now, this is when the draft trade conversations really start to heat up. Teams looking to possibly move up and down the draft board. We'll go down memory lane and revisit some past NFL draft trades and how those trades worked out or didn't work out for teams. And then we'll close by doing some NFL draft trivia. I'm going to put Tommy's knowledge to the test and see what he can do. So let's get into it, Tom. So unsigned free agents. So let's talk about who's still remaining in free agency, who hasn't signed with teams. We'll talk about some of the most notable players, right, as really the first wave of free agency has come and gone. So let's start with Kirk Cousins. So Kirk Cousins was released by the Atlanta Falcons about a month ago. Right, he's 37 years old. Did go 5-3 last season in 10 games with the Falcons. 8 games he started. Completed 61% of his passes, 1,700 yards, 10 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Really, at this stage of his career, though, right, really more of like a game manager at this point. But I do feel like he could still be an effective backup quarterback at this point in his career. And I'm really surprised that no team has really made him. We've seen a couple backup quarterbacks sign. But no teams really seems to have made him a solid offer yet to come in and be the backup for a starter.
I wonder if he's being a little picky with his situation too. He wants to maybe go somewhere where either A, he has a chance to play, or maybe B, he has a chance to win a championship. I was actually pleasantly surprised with how he played last year. So yeah, I don't think he's a starter at this point in his career, but I think he could be a really valuable backup, and he kind of showed that for Atlanta last year. As you mentioned, won 5-3, won 5 games for them, and again, if they start the year off a little bit better, they're probably in the playoffs with him as a starter. So yeah, I wonder if it's more of him being a little picky or patient on what might or might not open up, so he can pick where he wants to go.
Yeah, that makes sense. And of course, right, he's not going to be back in Atlanta because they picked up Tua, so there's going to be a competition between Tua and Penix in camp for that starting job. And then, yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I think that's a good point. I think he is kind of maybe being very wise in choosing his destinations. I know right away there was a connection to the Jets there, and he shot that down right away. He wants nothing to do with the Jets. So, yeah, I think he's definitely looking for being very specific, not just for him, but maybe for his family too. We know he's a big
Yeah,
family guy
that's a
when he
good
was up
point
in
too.
Minnesota. The reason he even went to Atlanta, I think at the time when he agreed to go there, I think because like the kid's grandparents or something, like his wife's parents, I think live in Atlanta actually. So
Sure,
I
money
think he's
helps.
just, yeah, I think he's really just being careful with his
Yeah,
wherever he wants to go to finish his career. All right, let's touch on a couple of receivers here. So I have Jawan Jennings here on my list. I think he's probably the top receiver on the market maybe right now. He's coming off a career high 9 touchdowns with the 49ers. Right, we know what he is at this point. Very physical blocker in the run game, has contested catchability, thrives in the red zone. But he's hitting free agency for this time, for the first time at the age of 29. Maybe he was expecting to receive some larger offers, but none are out there right now that I guess is what he's looking for. And we do know him to be quite a character too in and of itself. So thoughts on Jawan Jennings still being a free agent?
there was a lot of noise about the Giants, and I actually thought that would have been a pretty good fit for him. The Giants ended up going out and signing Darnell Mooney, I think yesterday or
Yeah,
sometime this weekend. So that fit came off the table. Yeah, I think this is a guy who maybe expected to get a little bit more money than has been coming his way. I mean, when you looked at the wide receiver list, I mean, of the guys available, and even some of the guys who signed outside of maybe Pierce and Mike Evans, you would have considered this guy maybe, when we're talking outside wide receivers, right up there is like a top 3, 4 guy, and the market just hasn't been there for him. But if we're being honest, when you look at some of the wide receivers and what they're getting paid, the market really hasn't been there for a number of guys. So yeah, I guess he's gonna have to be a little bit more patient. I think he could be a really good number 2 guy wherever he ends up. I'm really curious where he could end up in the weeks to come.
Yeah, you would have thought at this time, like you mentioned, Nick, you would have thought one of the better receivers on the market. He would have found a spot by now. But yeah, I think just the market, what he was expecting himself, maybe what his agent was expecting, just
Yeah.
hasn't developed. Another former 49ers wide receiver, Debo Samuel, right? So after a short stint in Washington last year, Samuel's entering free agency here. He doesn't seem to have the same burst that he used to with the 49ers, right? Likely due to a lot of wear and tear over the years. And, he's rarely 100%. He's actually never topped 900 receiving yards in a season. He's 30 years old now. And we know he has shown a past history of struggling with dropping passes. And it definitely sounds like Washington is looking to upgrade here with, of course, right, rumored to be the other 49ers wide receiver, still with the 49ers, Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah.
Who they're looking to see. I guess maybe the 49ers will be looking to cut him soon. But yeah, thoughts on Debo Samuel still being available?
Yeah, it just looks like a guy who's, I don't want to say coming to the tail end of his career, but he's going to have to figure out a new role for himself. When you think about how San Francisco was using him for so many years, like even as a running back a little bit in the backfield, and the amount of hits he took and the amount of usage he got, like last year, he just looked significantly slower as a wide receiver. So I imagine whenever he does sign, he'll join a team as like a third option. And if you can, I want to say get him in better shape, but if you can find that speed that he had, or that quickness he had the first couple years of his career, you could have something there. Otherwise, you're looking at a third option that, you maybe use in certain roles. But yeah, it's just kind of crazy to think of where he was 3 or 4 years ago and where he is now. We talked about in the Washington preview how it felt like it was kind of like a move that didn't pay off. Uh, and yeah, we'll see what the market is for him. There are a number of these guys on the market now. I had like the wide receiver names up here, and I know you're going to touch on some of them, but between like, Hill and Diggs and some of these guys, even like a Curtis Samuel that for a while, looked like he could be a capable number 2. Like, these guys are just aging out, and teams are looking to find younger guys that can step in and contribute.
Yeah, I think with Diggs and Hill specifically, right? I mean, there's still questions around Tyreek Hill, right? We don't know, right, coming off the really bad knee
Yep.
injury he suffered in that Monday night game against the Jets, like what his status is going to be to start the
Yep.
season. And with Stephon Diggs, I mean, just the legal issues that
Yep.
he's currently facing right now, I think that's a red flag, and teams are going to wait and see what happens there. Yeah, two very notable receivers there that we're not sure what their future
If
is going to be right now.
if the Diggs legal stuff comes back clear, I think teams will line up pretty quickly because he was good for the Pats. And again, we come down to, is he a number 1? Is he a number 2? I don't think Diggs is going to be your number 1 go-to guy like he was for parts of his career. But if everything checks out legally and you can get Stephon Diggs as your number 2, I think a number of teams in the NFL would be happy with that. He's just very much in a holding pattern of let's wait and see.
Did you mention somebody else there? Hill, Diggs, was there somebody else?
I'd mentioned like Curtis Samuel
Samuel.
too.
Oh, that's
You know,
right, Curtis Samuel.
I had on my list, and we'll get to my list in a second, or maybe I didn't put him on my list. Like Keenan Allen had like an okay year for the
The
Chargers.
Chargers.
Again, like, do teams view him as a number 2, or do teams view him as like maybe a bigger third option, depending on who you have in your slot?
Mhm.
But yeah, we're at that point where you got a lot of guys in their 30s who don't have the explosiveness or the physical ability that they had 3 or 4 years ago when they're in their mid 20s. What can you find for these guys role wise, and what will they accept money wise?
Yeah, Curtis Samuel, right? He had two pretty disappointing years in Buffalo. He was really expected to be like at least maybe like a number 2 receiver there, and it just didn't work out at all. Right? I mean, he played pretty. He was a pretty solid player when he was in Washington, but
Yep.
didn't work out at all in Buffalo. But yeah, a couple receivers still out there floating around. We will point out Christian Kirk actually just signed today with the 49ers to a 1-year, $6 million deal. So right, he's gonna replace Jawan Jennings, I guess, in that role as that possession receiver. Let's go to another position now. How about tight end here? David Njoku. Really surprised out of everybody we've talked about so far. I think I'm most surprised that he hasn't signed yet. Right, he's missed some time over the past few years in Cleveland, dealt with some injuries. Still regarded as one of the most athletic tight ends in the league. He's shown an ability to create yards after the catch, real good weapon up the seam for quarterbacks. But I mean, maybe he's not available right, or excuse me, maybe he's still available in free agency right now. Maybe there's some kind of underlying injury, right? He was banged up on the back end of last year. That's where Harold Fannin took over and kind of took that tight end role. But yeah, Njoku's a guy who I am still surprised that's still available out there right now.
I also wonder like how teams view him as a tight end. He isn't the most reliable pass catching tight end. He's not a great blocker, so he's like kind of caught in the middle here. So I just wonder if teams are looking at him and going, and I have to imagine his asking price maybe playing a part in this too. That teams are going, you want how much, and what is your role going to be in our football team?
Mhm.
But yeah, as athletically, he's great. I think if you found the right offense for him, he could still be a reliable pass catcher. But yeah, of all the names out there, you have to figure he's probably one of the more prominent names that you're shocked he has. I mean, he was when we were talking tier one tight ends, there were fans of teams that were like, "Oh, I would take him on my team right now." And again, when you look at the tight end market, there's not much else left. I had Darren Waller written down here. That's even if he wants to play. He got
Yeah.
injured last year after he did retire, came back out of retirement, went to Miami, was really good in the red zone for Miami. But does he want to play? If he does, he could be an option there too. Uh, Dallas Goddard re-signed with the Eagles. He's probably the best tight end left on the market. You look at the rest of this tight end market, and it's not moving. So it is what it is when we get to the third tier of free agency, which I think we're essentially in now. And you're looking at some of these names, especially at tight end.
Yeah, I remember when with Darren Waller, right? He went to the Giants, and it was just really extremely disappointing. And then,
Mhm.
right, what happened? Didn't he retired? Didn't
He
he like try to
retired.
become like a rapper or something like that?
I
Pretty
don't.
sure he
If he
doubled
did,
it.
I missed that part of it.
Dude, I'm pretty sure he tried doing that. I'm gonna have to look that up. I remember hearing that, and then he came back. It was funny. Like he came back, he like went to Miami, and like his first game back, he like beat Sauce Gardner for a touchdown on that Monday night game, and I'm just like, Sauce. I mean, come on, this is a guy who's out of the league for 2 years, and you can't freaking. That's where I started to sour on Sauce, but yeah. Anyway, so let's move on here. Another player that I have on my list here. So I have an offensive lineman here, Wyatt Teller, former Cleveland Brown. He is 31 years old. He's missed some games over the past few years. But at one point, we're talking about a former Pro Bowl offensive lineman here whose play did seem to slip last season. He was part of the reason why the Browns basically said, right, we're going to rebuild the entire offensive line in free agency this year. But he's shown he can play guard, he can play tackle. He's pretty over his career outside of the past 2 years. Really, he's shown to be a very dependable player. So I am surprised that he is still available on the market for teams, especially teams that are very offensive linemen are high commodity right now in free agency.
And I'm going to mention three more linemen in that same category with you, and I think they're all in a similar boat. Taylor Decker played tackle last year for the Lions. He was banged up last year. Good against the pass, okay as a run blocker, but still a capable starter, especially if healthy. Joel Benito, who played in Cleveland with Wyatt Teller, still a top pass blocker in the NFL, was banged up last year. If he can stay healthy, he's probably a capable starter or someone you want to look to compete with a younger guy. And then Kevin Zeitler, who's 36, I think turning 37. He might be 37 before the league year starts. Was easily the best lineman on the Titans. Was actually a really solid guard last year. If he wants to play, he's a starter. But I think when we look at these guys all in their 30s, I think two things you have to factor in. One, a lot of them have been banged up. So can you rely on them to be healthy? And if not, they'll be capable backups. I think we're getting into this, and I'm going to talk about this when I bring up some of these defensive guys. I don't know how many of these guys are willing to go through a training camp. They're 30 years old. They're going to want to spend time with their family. Line is a little bit better than defensive line, where guys like we'll get into like a Jadeveon Clowney in a minute, who I'll talk about, but he's a guy who I don't think wants to go to training camp and doesn't necessarily have to. Offensive lineman, you want in and around your football team to build that camaraderie. But I am curious how many of these guys are like, you know what? I'll show up in September, and if I can take a starting spot, awesome. Otherwise, I'll be a backup. And if a young guy struggles, I can step in and start. But those four guys we named, if they're healthy, are probably good enough to at least start in this league. So yeah, three guys that potentially could find a spot somewhere.
Yeah, I know Batonio especially was really beat up last year with the Browns. I
Yeah,
think I did see a report. I think he was actually possibly leaning towards retirement.
yeah.
So maybe
It,
it's still up in the air. Maybe he's unsure if he wants to play yet at this time.
I
That could be what it is.
I think for a number of the guys we're going to talk about, any of them could retire, but they
Mhm.
haven't yet, and they're still in free agency. And these guys can help contribute, even if it does. I mean, like you watch some of the line play in this league this year. I'm pretty sure the Kansas City Chiefs would take their chances with a Taylor Decker or Wyatt Teller
Yeah.
versus what they had at right tackle last year. So, just guys that if you're a contender and you want to shore up the interior of your line, maybe you call up Joel Benito and you say, hey, where are you at and would you fit?
Yeah, actually, another Jawan Taylor. Actually, speaking of Chiefs offensive
Yeah,
lineman, he's still in free agency as well.
not
Um,
shocked.
yeah. We'll talk about some defensive guys here on my list. I got Joey Bosa here, right, coming off a year with the Bills. He did lead the league in forced fumbles in Buffalo. I found that out. But he only accumulated 5 sacks. But again, he was kind of in a rotational pass rush role. But again, I think at this point in his career, right, that's the kind of role that's kind of made for him. A rotational pass rush role for a team contending to try to win a Super Bowl. But again, he's another player, just like a lot of these guys we talk about here, who's had issues staying healthy over the past couple years. And another D lineman I'll throw at you, and then we can get more into your list. I have DJ Reader here. Right, he was a defensive tackle for the Lions last year. He was elite run stopping this past year for the Lions. Very good. Again, though, age 32, that could be a reason why he's still in the market, but still very efficient. For a guy who's very good at occupying double teams, I'm actually surprised that he's still in the market. I feel like he would be a perfect fit. I think I even had this in my preview. I think he'd be a perfect fit for the Buffalo Bills as they bring in the Jim Leonard 3-4 attacking style defense. I think he would be a great nose tackle to have in the middle. You can bring him in. At this point, you're in the second wave of free agency. You could bring him in basically on like a 1-year deal, have him fit that role for the season, and then you can draft maybe somebody on day 2 or day 3 to kind of develop them behind DJ Reader. I think that'd be a
Get me
good spot
DJ
for him.
Reader in Dallas. Like I'd be thrilled. I'd be thrilled if they could bring him in. They just traded Oso Digizua. If they can trade, or if they can bring Reader in to replace Osa, I'd be thrilled. Okay, a couple names on mine. Bobby Wagner, who I thought was the best player on a bad Washington defense. He's still playing at an incredibly high level. Again, who knows if he's going to play or not? I still think if he does, he'll end up back in Washington. He has he's familiar with Dan Quinn, been with him for years. Cameron Jordan, he's going to be 37 at the start of the year, but he's coming off 10.5 sacks. For me, like if you're looking for pass rush help and he's willing to play another year, let him sit out training camp and bring him in. Take a flyer on him on a 1-year deal. The best you get is what he had last year, and there are a lot of teams that would sign up to get a 10.5 sack guy. So Cameron Jordan as well. I have Jadeveon Clowney on here as well. Really productive season in Dallas. Bad defense. Still has some juice off the edge. Again, if he's your second or third pass rusher, you'll take it. Could be a really solid complementary piece. I just jotted down like a couple like take a chance on guys. L'Jarius Sneed, Marshawn Lattimore, guys who played at a high level not too long ago, but struggled last year. Are there teams that are willing to say, hey, Marshawn Lattimore, we'll take you on a 1-year deal? Guys like Harrison Smith, a little older, played well for Minnesota last year. Would he come back? And then I jotted down Bobby Okereke. Giant fans were happy with the way he played last year. Levante David, Matt Milano, all older guys. But again, you're looking to come in, be a 1 or 2 down linebacker, filling on whatever role they want. And then I skipped over this one before. You might not like it, but Aaron Rodgers is still out there. He had 24 touchdowns last year, 7 INTs. He played 16 games, had over 3,000 yards. It's going to come with the full Aaron Rodgers experience. I still think he'll end up in Pittsburgh if he's going anywhere. But he is out there and maybe arguably the best player left in free agency.
At this point, where else could he go? It feels like
Yeah,
every spot at the table's taken at this point, besides that
yeah,
Steeler one, right? I
very
can't
good
even.
point.
I'm not looking at the teams right now, but I can't even think of another team that would even entertain it at this point. Especially not a team that's probably
Yeah,
with the plan to possibly compete for a championship, right?
I can't think of one off the top of my head either.
Yeah. I'm also surprised that Bobby Okereke is still available too. I just thought of him; he was a pretty solid linebacker with
I
the
wonder if he's
Giants.
being picky because talking to Giant fans, living in the tri-state area here. Talking to Giant fans, a lot of them were happy with his play. They thought he was overpaid a little bit for what he was giving them. Very similar to Tremaine Edmonds. But again, like I throw Dallas out there if they can get him on a good enough deal, I would absolutely take a flyer on Bobby Okereke.
Dallas signed this guy. Dallas signed this guy. Dallas.
When your defense is this bad last year, you need need decent. You need guys that can just play. You're hoping they can play for you.
Right. Another notable move today, Justin Fields, the Jets traded him to the Kansas City Chiefs for, I think it was a sixth round pick. So the Jets actually have 3 sixth round picks now in the 2027.
Hey, well done by the Jets for even getting a sixth for this guy. This guy
Dude,
can't play quarterback in the NFL.
he was freaking awful, dude.
Can't play
Here's what I'll
quarterback.
say, dude. Here's what my honest take on Justin Fields. I think he has so much ability. I really do. He can run. He can throw. I'll be honest, and I'll just say it. I don't think he gives a shit. I think he's just one of those guys who's happy to be in the NFL. Look, we've been watching football, both of us, for what, maybe 25 years to 30 years at this point. How many guys have we seen over the years where, you're a 5-star recruit in high school, you're phenomenal on the field, you go to a big-time college program, you dominate, whether it's Georgia, Ohio State, whatever it is, and you get to the NFL, and it's kind of like, whatever happened to this guy? People, like, that's the thing. The NFL, everybody's a great football player, right? So you actually have to put the work in if you want to be really good. And I honestly think that's my issue with Justin Fields. Like, the Jets gave him a chance last year. Once when they chose to go with Tyrod Taylor, they wanted to run like an option of plays, kind of like that Wildcat type package, like he did with the Steelers for a couple of games when Russ took over the job from him. And he basically said, "No, I don't want to do it. I don't want to get hurt." That shows to me that you're kind of quitting on the team in that regard. And he never played again after that happened.
I can't speak to that. It does all makes sense. I will also say I don't think he's a great passer of the football. It was his issues at Ohio State. Whenever you talk to anybody, and Justin Fields is very popular with this generation of high school, college person. I have many debates with these kids at work. I just don't think he was ever that good of a passer. He's incredibly dynamic, but when your highlight package is you running around a lot as a quarterback, I don't think it speaks very well about you as a passer. So, I hope the guy, if you want to go somewhere with a good coach that can help coach you up, not a bad spot. But I just don't think he's that good of a passer. Probably should have looked to do something with his legs because the guy is absolutely dynamic when he gets the ball in his hands. But as a passer, not a massive fan.
Yeah, and he chose not to run last year. I mean, there was I would say last year he had 2 really good games. One of them was week 1 against the Steelers, right, who got rid of him. He was highly motivated in that game, and he had the best game of the season for him. I think another thing when people get confused about Justin Fields, sometimes you look at the box score for games, right? Perfect example I'll talk to you about. Jets played the Cowboys last year, right? Cowboys absolutely destroyed the Jets. The game was over by halftime. The Jets scored, I think, 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Justin Fields ended up with 280 yards passing with 2 touchdowns, all in the fourth quarter passing. So you look at the box score and you're like, oh, Justin Fields, he had an okay game. No, he sucked. He was awful last year. So, don't read too much into the numbers for some of these people. I cannot stand how many times online. There's a reason the Jets have given up on him. The Steelers gave up on him. The Bears gave up on him. And again, too, I wasn't a big Justin Fields guy coming out of college. And maybe because I used to live in Georgia and I knew some people and they told me some stuff about Justin Fields when he was at Georgia. They weren't big fans of him and he transferred out to Ohio State, and I don't know, maybe it's part of the reasons, but yeah, just a guy who has, in my opinion, all the talent in the world, but he doesn't want to put the work in. So whatever.
He also has the patented stat line where he's 9 for 16 with 82 yards in 3 quarters of football, and you're going to hear me bring that up when we cover games live this, or when games are over this fall. You're going to hear me comment about the Justin Fields stat line, because all I heard about was how good this guy is. You hit the nail on the head. This is 4 teams in 4 years. This guy's been given enough chances. He's made his money. God bless him. Maybe it works out in Kansas City. As I said to the Jet fans here in this area, I'm not holding my breath for him in Kansas City now. So we'll see.
Well, let's see. I mean, right, depending on Mahomes' rehab, we'll see if he's
there's a chance he can start week 1.
In my opinion, I think he hopes he doesn't have to play and he can just collect the paycheck and be happy.
He could be starting week 1 for this football team.
He could be.
God bless you, Kansas City.
Yeah, good luck with that. All right, so let's transition now. Let's really start steering more into our NFL draft series. So I want to go back and look at some of the most memorable trades involving draft picks and really get into what teams gave up getting a specific player and why it worked out or why it didn't work. And basically what we can do is we can try to paint the picture here for those teams that won the trade, I say that in quotes, and how did it work out for them? And for the teams that might have lost the trade, how did that work out? Or maybe there were situations where both teams won. So let's dive into it. Some of my favorite ones that I was able to dig up today. So here's a trade. I'm going to go back to 1985, Tom, when you or I were probably our father's worst nightmares to happen. The San Francisco 49ers had pick number 28, and Coach Bill Walsh at the time needed a wide receiver. So the 49ers call up the New England Patriots, and they're looking to move up from 28 to 16. So they offer the Patriots for that 16th pick. They're offering pick number 28. They're offering the second round pick, and they're offering the third round pick. And with that pick at 16, they draft a wide receiver out of a small college out of Mississippi Valley State by the name of Jerry Rice. So at that time, right, the cost to move up for 12 spots was the first, second, and third round pick for the 49ers that year. So the 49ers draft, right, the greatest wide receiver in NFL history, helps them win 3 Super Bowls. He was, an Offensive Player of the Year twice, 10-time first-team All-Pro. For those interested, I found it interesting, the Patriots, here's who the Patriots used those picks on. So in the first round, they actually drafted Trevor Maddich, center out of BYU, right? He's working for ESPN now. So he was part of that trade. They also drafted a guy named Ben Thomas, defensive end out of Auburn, who kind of floated around the league for about 6-7 years. And then a guy named Audrey McMillan, cornerback from Houston, and he was actually an All-Pro in 1992. So, thoughts on that trade? How that went down? How that worked out for both teams?
Yeah, I think the Niners won that one, huh?
I think they did.
I think if New England could go back and redo that one, they'd redo it. Yeah, I think it speaks very what's the word I'm looking for? It speaks to what Bill Walsh knew and how he viewed football, that he was willing to give all that up to move up that amount of spots for a guy out of Mississippi Valley State. So speaks volumes of it. And at the time, I'm sure we would have been like, man, what a great deal for New England. Sometimes you get the guy you want and it works out.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, right? I mean, you would think right at the time, even today, it's so funny though. Even by today's standards, like if the Jets gave up 3 picks to draft a wide receiver out of Mississippi Valley State, I'd probably be losing my mind.
Yeah.
What are we doing? I don't know. Does Darren Muji know something that I don't? I don't know, but I don't know. But hey, it worked out really well for the 49ers. 3 Super Bowls later, and the greatest wide receiver in NFL history. Hall of Famer. All right. Let's we'll fast forward from 1985 to 1999 when I was about 10 years old. Right, you got the New Orleans Saints. Mike Ditka is entrenched as their head coach, and he's enamored with Ricky Williams, the running back out of Texas. So the Saints traded 8 total picks to the then Washington Redskins to move up from number 12 to number 5. So that's a 7-pick jump. And they included their entire 1999 draft. First round pick, a third round pick, a 4th, a 5th, a 6th, and a 7th, plus their first and third round picks in the next draft, the 2000 draft, to be able to draft Ricky Williams. And right, so Ricky Williams is with the Saints only for 3 seasons. He was good, but what happens is Ditka gets fired. The new staff came in, which is Jim Haslett, and actually your boy Mike McCarthy was part of that staff too. So they trade Ricky Williams to Miami, the Dolphins, and he has a phenomenal 2002 season, runs for 1,800 yards and 16 touchdowns. He kind of flamed out of the league. Rather quickly after that, he had some other recreational activities that he liked to do. So, but looking at this, right, from even a Washington perspective here, right, so they didn't use all those picks, right? They traded them a couple, here and there. But 2 players that they did end up with there were Champ Bailey, the cornerback, and LeVar Arrington, the linebacker. So 2 very good players that were really a part of that Washington core for many years to come. So who do you think, Tom? Who won this trade, the Saints or Washington?
I think Washington won it because ultimately they got 2 players who are, arguably, at least of that era of Washington Redskin football, now Commander, probably 2 of their better players ever. This is what I like when I vividly remember becoming a football fan. I remember Ricky Williams. For those of you who are young and have no memory of Ricky Williams, go watch some highlights. This dude was sick. He was sick at Texas. He was awesome when he was in the NFL. He was a character, to say the least, but he was really fun to watch. And I vividly remember Washington picking second and third back to back. They had like 20 minutes on the clock in that draft, and they took Champ Bailey. They took LeVar Arrington. I remember watching LeVar Arrington and being like, linebacker looks like the coolest position in the NFL. This dude was just flying around, hitting people, demolishing people on his highlight film. I think Washington wins this trade. I mean, Ricky Williams was good, but the Saints never won anything for them. And granted, the United States didn't really give up that much in the grand scheme of things. They end up trading Ricky Williams, and it was, what, 3 seasons in New Orleans versus basically two careers in Champ Bailey and LeVar Arrington. I'll give it to Washington. But this is like when I first remember getting to the NFL, and I'm like, man, this thing's going to be so much fun to follow. Look at this. You got teams trading entire drafts for one player. This is crazy. Hasn't quite been that crazy since. But yeah, that was a wild deal.
How much different is it now? Imagine doing that for like a running back nowadays. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
never.
Like,
Never.
right? I mean, right? If you're a team even picking like in the middle of like the first round, are you giving up your whole draft class for Jeremiah Love this year? No. But it's just crazy to look back at stuff like this. Just the amount of value, right, that was put into the running back position
And
compared
and
to
how
what
the
it is
league's
now today.
changed. And how the league's changed in what? That was 2000. So in basically 20
25 years.
years,
Yeah.
26 now, but the league started changing what, 5, 6, 7 years ago with Mahomes and all these guys, even Peyton Manning to an extent. How quickly the league changed from a running league to a passing league, and how we might be heading back to a running league sometime soon.
All right, so let's fast forward 5 years here from 1999. 2004, the Chargers have the first pick in the draft. They draft Eli Manning, quarterback from Ole Miss, number 1 overall. Despite his refusal to play there, remember that was a big deal at the time. He came out. He said he wanted nothing to do with the San Diego Chargers. San Diego at the time, folks. So the Giants then at number 4 draft Philip Rivers. And what happens is the Chargers and Giants swap the players. So Eli goes to the Giants. Rivers goes to the Chargers, and the Giants also send the Chargers additional picks. So they switch first round picks. They sent them additional third round and fifth round picks to the Chargers. So, right, win-win, I think, for both. As the Giants, right, of course, they win the 2 Super Bowls with Eli. The Chargers get 15 years out of Philip Rivers. You can make the case, actually, from that 2004 class that he was the best quarterback between him, Eli, and Ben Roethlisberger at the time. But also the Chargers, with some of their picks, they were able to build that core of players that kept them very competitive from like the mid 2000s, basically from like 2004, well, even from 2002 on, right? Remember they had Drew Brees the quarterback at the time. They were basically competitive from like '02 to like 2010, 2011 for a little while.
Through Rivers.
Right, and one of those players they ended up drafting was Sean Merriman, if you remember him, stud linebacker. Unfortunately, his career ended kind of prematurely, a lot of concussions. But yeah, who do you think won that trade? Chargers or Giants?
So I think the Giants win it because they won 2 Super Bowls.
Right.
But to your point, I think it's a win-win. I think both teams were happy. I don't think the Chargers look at this and go, man, if we had Eli Manning, we win a Super Bowl. In fact, I say this to many Giant fans when I get into fun debates about Eli Manning. If Philip Rivers is on the Giants, they win those Super Bowls too. So I'm not taking anything away from Eli Manning. He's probably going to be a Hall of Famer, whether I agree with it or not. But he was a product of what the Giants built around him. Credit to him, credit to the Giants. And the Chargers built a really successful franchise that unfortunately ran into Peyton Manning and more importantly, Tom Brady over the course of Philip Rivers' entire career. Philip Rivers, one of my favorite quarterbacks that I've watched from like the time he was drafted until this year. I will always root for that guy. He was awesome. So yeah, win-win. Giants probably win it ultimately, but both teams were happy with what they got.
Yeah, agreed. Win-win, and I think it worked out very well for both teams, especially for the Giants, right? I mean, what was this? I think this is going to be Eli's, 3rd year now of eligibility? Right, he missed out the first 2.
Was he? Yeah, he was up for it again this year for Hall of Fame, right? And he did.
Yeah, and he didn't get in,
I think
so.
he'll make it eventually. I don't know if he should or shouldn't. That could be another debate for another podcast. But I think 2 Super Bowl MVPs, even if I don't feel he earned those 2, will probably get him in.
All right, last trade I'm going to talk about here. So we're going to fast forward again from 2004 to 2017. Kansas City Chiefs jump up from pick number 27 all the way up to pick number 10 in a trade with the Buffalo Bills, giving up their first round pick in return, right? A third round pick and their 2018 first round pick. The Chiefs, of course, draft Patrick Mahomes. The Bills use those picks though; they get some good players out of it. Tre'Davious White, one of their cornerbacks, who was a longtime staple there, and then technically the Josh Allen pick was actually part of that deal, as the Bills did use the Kansas City picks to kind of maneuver and trade up to get Josh Allen in 2018. Right, so the Chiefs get Mahomes, multiple Super Bowl appearances later with 3 victories, but the Bills end up with Josh Allen, and unfortunately for Bills fans, the Mahomes is the one that keeps keeping them away from the Super Bowl. So, your thoughts on that trade?
Yeah, I think both teams are happy with this trade. I don't think if you flip either quarterback, it's either franchise is drastically different. I think Josh Allen and the Bills are sitting there like, man, it's awesome that this guy Mahomes is the one we've had to compete against for all those years, especially that one AFC title game. That to this day, I still have no idea how the Chiefs came back and won it. But I think you can argue now the Bills right now are maybe a little bit better positioned than the Chiefs to go win a Super Bowl. And I know you don't want to hear it, but I really like Josh Allen. He looks like a stand-up guy, and he's a really talented quarterback. So I hope he does get to it at some point. But the clock's taking on that one, and it feels like he may be running out of time. But yeah, Chiefs win this one, but I think both teams are happy.
Great. Yeah, both teams are happy getting out of here, and yeah, we'll see. I mean, I agree. Yeah, Buffalo definitely is a much better roster right now than the Chiefs. I'm on record saying I think the Chiefs in the division are at least the third team right now
Yeah.
behind the Chargers and the Broncos. All right, so we went down memory lane there with some trades. We're going to close the show with some NFL draft trivia. All right, so I got some trivia questions here specific to the draft. I'm going to test Tom's knowledge and see how many he can get right. Some of these are pretty hard. I will say this: some of them are pretty hard, but I think some of them you'll get, but you'll just need to think a little
This is
bit.
gonna kill me because I pride myself on draft knowledge and trivia. So
Okay, so here's one I don't think you're going to get. I couldn't get this one. This was a pretty hard one. So, which NFL franchise has had the most number one overall picks in history?
Jesus.
I'll give you a hint if you'd like.
Let me think for a second here. Take the hint, but let me.
Okay, so the hint is this team is not in their original location. So this team transplanted. They were somewhere and now they are in their new location.
Is it Indianapolis?
It is Indianapolis. Look at you, my man.
All right, good
I don't
stuff.
have the number though, unfortunately, here, but that was the answer. But yeah, they've had the most.
I was thinking Vegas at first with Oakland, but they had a good '80s, so it could
Yeah.
have been them.
Let's
Okay.
not forget, right? The Colts have had the number one pick over a couple of times, right? Peyton
Yep.
Manning, Andrew Luck, couple of guys.
That's what sealed it for me was those two. So okay. All right, 1 for 1. I'll take it.
All right, here's the next question I got for you. Okay. So this is okay. So name 3 Heisman Trophy winners from the last 10 years. So this is between 2016 and 2025. So name 3 Heisman Trophy winners during that time who were also selected with the number one overall pick in the draft. Bonus if you can name all 5.
Oh God.
They are, I will say, they are all pretty recent, actually.
Are they? Can I get a hint? Are they all quarterbacks?
They are all quarterbacks.
Okay. Oh God, I feel like I should know this. Kyler Murray.
He's one of them.
Oh God, this is gonna be bad. I should know this.
It took me a while to get this one. I finally got it, but it took me a while too.
Kyler Murray. Trevor Lawrence.
No, he did not win the
He didn't
Heisman.
win a Heisman.
No, he didn't win it that year.
Kyler Murray. Somebody recent. Why can I not think of who was recent? Cam Ward.
No, Cam Ward did not win the Heisman.
This shows you how much I keep track of the Heisman.
Want another hint?
No, give me one more minute. I know this is great podcasting. I'm gonna try to.
Play the Jeopardy music.
Matthew Stafford.
No, Matthew Stafford, no. Remember, this is the last 10 years.
I couldn't tell you when Stafford was drafted.
He was drafted 2009. 2009 he was drafted. And the reason I know that is because the Jets drafted Mark Sanchez the same year. That's how I know that.
Yeah, give me a hint.
Okay, so went to the same college as Kyler Murray.
Baker Mayfield.
Yes, Baker Mayfield.
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow. So you actually, technically, you got it right. You got 3 correct. Can you name the other 2? One I think you should get. The other one you'll probably be like, oh, him. I think you'll have that reaction.
Wanna know
If you
what's
don't.
crazy? I feel like the kids at the school just asked me this question not too recently, and I feel like I should know it. Okay, so I have 3. One has to be an Ohio State guy, no? Has to be. Give me the other 2,
All right. So
just for the sake of podcasting.
2023, Bryce Young,
Oh, I should have
right,
got
from
that.
Alabama,
That's really good.
Carolina Panthers, and then 2024, Caleb Williams, USC.
Oh, I should have got both those. That's really
They were
bad.
the more recent guys, yeah. So you pulled out Baker and Burrow a little further back.
Yeah, because okay, Caleb did it. He was at USC, but that team was terrible.
Yeah, it
Bryce,
wasn't.
Bryce Young, I should have got. That was bad.
I
All
was
right,
surprised. Yeah, I mean,
I'll
I
take the
honestly
2.
thought you should have got Caleb. All
Should
right,
have got
so
5, to be honest with you.
here's the next one I got for you. This is gonna take some thinking. You actually might want a pen and paper for this.
Okay.
There's some thinking for here. Okay. I think you'll get. I was able to get this one, but it took me a while. So, since the year 2000, how many non-quarterbacks have been taken number 1 overall?
Jeez Louise. There's no way I'm gonna remember this, but okay, so that's 25 drafts.
That's 25 drafts. Do you want a hint for this one?
No, not yet.
Okay.
25. How many years haven't?
So, how many
Yeah.
non-quarterbacks
Okay.
have been taken number 1 overall? I think you should get like at least 3 of these.
Oh, you want me to name them?
Yeah, I was hoping
I
you
was
could
gonna
name
give
the
you a number.
players.
Oh, okay.
I figured, right, if you know the players, then you'll get the number.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, I
don't
guess
know.
you could take a guess out of the number, but
Miles Garrett.
he's one of them. Yep. One of the guys you mentioned earlier.
Clowney wasn't one.
Yes, he was. Clowney was number 1.
Clowney?
So you got-
How many were edges? Were they all
Okay.
edge rushers?
So there's 2 more that were edges, and the other 2 are offensive tackles.
Gonna remember the offensive. I feel like one's not Greg Robinson, is it?
No, not Greg Robinson.
Okay.
However, right, who did Jadeveon Clowney was drafted by the Texans. There was another edge drafted by the Texans first overall.
Julius Peppers wasn't number 1 overall, was he?
No, he was number 2 actually in the
2?
Panthers. Yeah, that was a good guess because I was thinking that one too, but I'm pretty surprised you didn't know this one. I thought you would if you dug back a little bit here.
Another
Texans defensive end.
Another Houston defensive end. Who's the other Houston defensive end?
Mario Williams.
Dude, I forgot he existed. He was the number 1 overall pick. What year was that?
That year was I want to say that was the Reggie Bush year. Was that 05, I think?
He smokes. No,
Yeah.
now while we're talking, I need to Google the 2005 draft to see.
I think Reggie Bush was 05.
No, Alex Smith was 2005.
Oh, you're right. So that was what year was Bush? Was that 06 then?
2004?
06. 06 was Mario Williams.
Hold on. Sorry, everybody. If you're listening, I need to look up 06 to see who went after Mario Williams.
Phenomenal draft by the Jets that year, though. 2 first-round picks.
Young went 3.
He went 3 that year.
Gabriel Ferguson went 4. Vernon Davis. What were we doing, Houston? Oh my God. That's awful. Okay, so Mario Williams. One more edge?
One more edge. Yeah, I don't think you're going to get this edge.
Can you give me the year?
2000.
Oh, 2000.
Yeah, I believe actually this guy was the very first draft pick of the Browns when they came back.
Oh, who is it?
Courtney Brown. Name fits the Browns.
All right, everybody, we're gonna do the same thing because Courtney Brown never amounted to really anything.
He didn't. No, he wasn't.
Let's see who else. Let's see who went after Courtney Brown. Let's have a little bit of fun.
Courtney
LeVar
Brown.
Arrington.
Oh, there you go. We talked about him earlier.
Better. Chris Samuels, who was good. Okay, Peter Ward went 3. Jesus.
Yeah, that's a rough
Jamal
one.
Lewis. Brian Urlacher went 9. Sean Ellis, Jonathan Abram. Wow. Okay. Sean Alexander, Dallas traded that pick. Sean Alexander went 19. Yeah, I remember that. Okay. Who's the last lineman?
So we got 2 offensive tackles. All right. So the 2 of them.
Oh, give me the year.
I don't remember honestly. The year for these guys.
Can you give me the team?
Yes. One was the Chiefs. The tackle.
See his face.
He was an okay player from what I recall. Yeah,
Give me
nothing
the names.
special. He's okay.
Give me the names. I'm not gonna
Eric
get it.
Fisher,
Oh yeah. Yeah, he was okay.
and the other one was for the Dolphins, Jake Long from
Oh,
Michigan.
Jake Long was very good.
Yeah, he was a first team All Pro. Yeah,
Yeah,
a couple
Jake
rookie
Long
Pro
was
Bowls.
very good. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, I got two. I'll take two.
Okay, let's see. All right, here's another question for you. Let's see. Okay. You know what? I'll give you a break from naming so many players. Let's go to this one. So, New York City has hosted the draft for 57 years.
I went.
Do you know which city has hosted the second most?
To be somebody recent because they've only started traveling for the draft recently.
So it is it is kind of recent, but you'd be shocked how many times it actually is.
Philadelphia?
Yeah, Philadelphia. Look at
Yeah.
you. You know how many times?
8?
15.
Wow.
That's a lot. Yeah, you wouldn't expect that.
We used to go to the draft when it was held in New York every year quite a bit. It was a lot of fun.
How many times did you go?
4 or 5 times.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Did you
'Cause
like
you didn't have
meet
to-
any of the players or anything like that? Shake hand.
You
know
used
what
to have to not pay. The one year we went, I'm gonna have to ask my buddy Mikey. I don't know if he's probably not listening, but maybe he'll listen to this when I give him a shout out. We went one year and we were in the green room where the picks were made, and somebody walked past us, and I yelled something. I don't remember what I yelled, but it was clever enough that the dude turned around, gave me a head nod, and laughed. So that's all I remember. I got a text. I'll text him as you're asking.
You have no idea who it was?
To see, no, I have no idea. I'm gonna text him as we're doing it right now.
Do you remember the year? Which year that was?
I'm gonna text him to see. I don't.
Okay. Maybe we'll get the answer on the pod.
Yeah. Hopefully I can. If not, I'll do it.
All right. Here's another question for you. You might know this one actually because this is specific to the Dallas Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in 1989, the Dallas Cowboys took Troy Aikman, number 1 overall. They then famously used a first-round pick in the supplemental draft that same year. Who was the quarterback that they took?
My dad's gonna kill me when I don't know this. Not Jason Garrett because Garrett came after whoever this was.
Correct. It's not 1989, the year you were born.
Jerry Jones bought the Dallas Cowboys on the day I was born.
Get the hell out of here! Really?
That's not a curse. I don't know what it is.
That's wild.
Oh, who is it? Give me the name. My dad's gonna kill me.
Steve Walsh.
Yep.
Man, I'm kind of disappointed in you too there.
Yep. Now you know what? I gotta hear about the '90s all the time. By this point, I just blur it out because between my dad and my uncle, all I hear about is the '90s, the '90s, the '90s.
Let's see. You got any more in you?
Say it again.
You got any more questions in you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to find what draft that is. So keep going. I'm trying to see if I can find out what draft it is.
Okay, so here we go. So 89. That was. Oh, you're looking at the.
Yeah. I'm trying to find out what player I yelled at.
So here we go. Okay. Who holds the official record for the fastest 40-yard dash ever recorded at the combine?
Was it last year or 2 years ago?
2024.
Yeah, so it was 2 years ago.
Still active in the league.
It's like 4-3-1, right?
It's actually 4-2-1.
Oh Jesus! Who is it?
Xavier Worthy.
Oh, it is Xavier Worthy. That's right.
Let's see, what else can I ask you? Okay, I got 2 questions left. It's going to require some thinking, though. You know what? You actually might know this one pretty quickly.
I've been awful so far. So what is it?
All right, here we go. So the 1983 NFL Draft, right? Can you name at least 4 of the 6 quarterbacks who were selected in the first round that year?
Probably not. But
3 Hall of Famers.
Montana?
No, not Montana. In the first round.
Dude,
Really? Oh, man.
3 Hall of Famers?
There's at least 3 Hall of Famers, yeah.
Not Elway.
Yes, Elway. He was first overall.
God, he played for a long ass time. God bless him.
3 Hall of Fame players. The other 2 actually, just like Elway, spent their entire career with one team.
McMahon?
No, not McMahon.
Who's the Buffalo quarterback? Why can't I remember the Buffalo quarterback?
Yeah, that's who it is. He's one of them. Tom's struggling, folks. This is man. I really challenging his mental capacity.
When I was in my 20s, man, I could name first rounds off the top of my head.
Oh man, he's making excuses now.
What happens when you get old? Don't get old. What's the Buffalo? What's his
Jim
name?
Kelly.
Jim Kelly.
And then you got another quarterback, AFC East.
Is it a Jet?
Well, actually, one of them is a Jet, but I'm not talking about the Jet quarterback
I don't
here.
know who are the other two.
So Dan Marino.
Oh, okay.
And then you got Ken O'Brien, who was drafted by the Jets. You got
Okay.
Tony Eason, who was drafted by the Patriots, I think.
Yeah,
And Todd Blackledge.
that's like the all-time great quarterback draft, right?
Right.
I mean,
Yep. The
there
three
hasn't
Hall
been
of
one
Famers.
better. Three Hall of Famers.
Yeah, three Hall of Famers, man. All right. Any update from Ott?
He's saying he's trying to think. Let me see here.
He's trying to think. Oh boy, we'll be here. This is we're about what, an hour in almost. I don't think we can wait another hour for him to think.
No, we're good. He just responded. He was talking about the first time we went. The first time we went, we were in the side room for the first like 20 picks, and this was the year Dallas had 2 first-round picks. They picked DeMarcus Ware and Marcus Spears. We watched the DeMarcus Ware pick from like the fan room, and then we ended up going into the actual green room, draft room for the second pick for Marcus Spears. We sat in a little balcony area, and Sean Salisbury was right behind us, and that dude was eating like 2 Hungry Man XXLs. And actually, as my dad was going to buy ice cream, he loves telling this story. He bumped into Drew Rosenhaus and Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers was pissed at the time because he wasn't picked yet, so he fell in that draft. That's a true story. Yeah.
And Aaron Rodgers has been pissed off to this day.
Yep.
With everything.
All right. For everybody listening, the draft trivia has gone past me. I promise my scouting of the players is better than the draft history.
All right, folks. Thanks for hanging with us in the Loft today. The official Loft Sports podcast can be found wherever you consume your podcasts. Check out our website, loftsportus.com. We continue to add scouting reports for the draft. Tom's working on quarterbacks right now.
I finished Fernando Mendoza today. Excited to talk about him. When is that? Is that Friday?
Friday, yeah. We're going to break down the quarterbacks on Friday.
Raider fans, be excited. He's a good quarterback.
So Tom's working on the scouting reports. I've been adding a new baseball preview every day. Please check out our articles, rate and review. Please let us know how we're doing. Feedback is very important to us. So, we want to know if we're doing something right, if we're doing something wrong. Maybe we don't know what the hell that we're doing. So let us know, please. Follow us on X, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Follow us on all 5 social platforms. We are under Loft Sports USA. Please rate and review the podcast on whichever platform you listen to your podcasts. Thank everybody for listening. We will talk to you soon.